And welcome back to Conscious Conversations. My name is Boris Kirchner. Today, I want to ask you perhaps one of the most important questions. Do you believe that your thoughts have anything to do with the quality of your life experience? I really love to know, so either comment down below, or if you do, hit the like button. I will assume that you believe that to at least some degree, what you think, the thoughts in your mind, have some relevance to you in your life. So in today's conversation, I want to start with this platform, right? Our thoughts, how much do they matter? Do thoughts matter, right? Is a physical object, thoughts, mental object. Do thoughts matter? Do thoughts become things? Do thoughts become experience? Let's explore this now, but let's explore it in this really relevant context right now of our immunity, our immune system, our health, our well-being, our wellness. Do thoughts, the thoughts that you are thinking right now in your mind, have any impact at all on your health, on your immunity, on your well-being? My proposition to you is yes, they have a tremendous impact, but I also want to explore this with you on a gradient, on a scale. So let's say at 0, at this end of the scale, there's this belief, there's this notion, this understanding that my thoughts, what I think, has nothing to do with my health. I can think the most horrendous thoughts, the most happy thoughts, doesn't matter. This is independent of the thoughts I think, my body, my health, independent. On the flip side of the scale, on this side at 100%, what I think completely determines not only my state of well-being, not only my state of immunity and health, but also every aspect of the way that my body functions, of the way that my life expresses itself, all the way through to my entire experience of the universe, of being alive. So we have this scale, 0 or 100. Where do you fall on this scale? Because if you're able to really come to a clear understanding on this, then you will know to some degree that you have autonomy, you have agency, you have the power to shift the way that your life is being experienced. At the very least, shift the way that your health is being experienced, your state of immunity, your state of well-being. So here's how I want to break this down. We have this experience of thought, right? Thoughts about life. Again, as we've discussed in some of our previous conversations, thoughts have their corollary in our experience as emotions. It's very difficult, I would say, maybe impossible, but you tell me, to think a thought that is profoundly negative, believe in the truth of that thought, and be happy, right? Doesn't seem to be congruent. And in fact, probably as you do that, you'll create more dissonance inside yourself and more of a split and probably more hardship, more stress. So if we can understand this, then we know that these quote unquote negative thoughts, the thoughts that make us feel like we cannot handle life, the thoughts that make us feel like there's something outside of ourselves that we have no control over, that is against us, that is trying to hurt us, that is trying to take something away. So if we believe this kind of thought, what happens physiologically is that we experience something clinically called stress, okay? And then we start experiencing it on a chronic basis because most of our thoughts, as science also points out, are repetitive. We keep on thinking the same thoughts. For the majority of our day, our thoughts are very similar to the thoughts that we thought yesterday. I wonder if you're aware of this in your experience. Unless you have consciously come in and started to create a new dynamic in your life, in your mental life, in your life of thought and imagination, then, for the most part, you are re-experiencing thoughts that you have previously thought. Would you say that's correct? So if that's the case, and your thoughts are ones that show you that you are powerless in any way, and what I mean by powerless is simply the thought that I can't handle this. There's something there that I can't handle. It's too much, it's too little, it's too overwhelming, it's etc. It's something that is unhandleable for me. I can't face it. I don't feel like I have the resources to meet it. okay? When we think these thoughts, on a very literal physiological level, we interfere with our body's healthy function. The body begins to respond to environment as if the environment were a threat. And when we experience the environment as a threat on a chronic basis, time, continuous, we begin to shut down the life-promoting functionality of our body. Again, it's just science, right? So if we can come to at least this understanding, this agreement together, that at the very least, I can say with confidence that my thoughts affect the way I feel, which affects the way that my immune system functions, which then affects my ability to be healthy and resilient in the world, then to that degree we can say, yes, thoughts matter. Thoughts become things. Thoughts become emotions. Emotions become peptides in our brain, in our body. These peptides interact with the rest of the cellular structures in our body, and they create different experiences. They are literally, this is the way that thought becomes a physical object through our inner chemistry, through our inner laboratory that creates the chemistry of emotion. And this chemistry of emotion is not just a feely, touchy experience. It is literally a communication medium through which the body is informed of what kind of environment it is in. From a spiritual perspective, from a perspective of consciousness, this body is actually not sentient. It is only the consciousness that is aware of the body that has sentience. The body itself is not able, actually, it does not have its own consciousness separate from yours. It is not able to tell what is happening in the environment apart from what the mind feeds the body. That is why a certain person in a certain situation may feel horrible and be shaking and be scared, where another person in the same exact situation may be feeling excited and be feeling fortified, and a completely different set of chemistry is happening in one person and a completely different set of chemistry is happening in another person. Two different bodies, two different sets of chemistry. Why? Same environment, right? Same situation. It is because of the mind. It is because of the way we use our thoughts. So, in today's conversation, I want to offer you this challenge, this invitation to really become aware and come to a sense of agreement within yourself. Really see if you can come to a decision, to a declaration, in a way, that says, I can really see that my thoughts matter. There is a real and important reason for me to be able to manage my thoughts, to learn how to manage my thoughts, to learn to be aware of my thoughts, to learn to be aware of the belief structures, which are just simply thoughts that we've thought over and over and over again to the point that they're actually subconscious. We're not even aware of them. So if we can come to this declaration of really knowing that my thoughts matter and that it really makes sense for me to manage my thoughts, to put my attention there, to find a way in which I can think more joyfully, in which I can find perspectives of greater ease, in which I can find perspectives of empowerment in my thoughts, then we can begin a new journey. We can begin a journey of not just struggling matter against matter, not just pushing against the things that we don't want with physical force and with our mental stubbornness, which is really just this tension in our body, which is created by our sense of feeling like we can't handle our environment. But instead, we open up a completely new realm, a realm in which thought matters, a realm in which the mastery of our mind becomes one of the most important and most exciting games in town. Because we begin to realize, at first, perhaps we just begin to realize that our thoughts make up the destiny of our body. Wonderful. But as we continue beyond that, as we continue to explore this realm of what happens when I consciously think the thoughts that I want to think, what begins to happen? Can I change the course of my life? Can I change the course of my health? Can I change the course of history? Now, this becomes a very interesting exploration, a very engaging exploration when we begin to see the lines of causality. If we only see causality on the physical plane, if we only see materialistic causality of the billiard balls, and we don't understand or don't see or don't recognize the causality of consciousness, actually it is consciousness that is causing everything. not the physical experiences of it. So remember, again, think about your dreams at night. In your dreams, you may see that there's a tree that falls over, and you may say, oh, I see there was a lumberjack over there cutting that tree. Really? Or was it really your consciousness? Was it just your mind showing you the tree falling, the lumberjack, the thought process? It was all part of one movie. So why don't we discover this causal power within ourselves? At the very least, the causal power of our own body-mind experience, and let us begin to experiment with it. Let us begin to find out the levers. They're invisible, they're not material, they're not physical, so you can't see them, but you can discover them by applying thought consciously and deliberately to a specific outcome that you're wanting to experience. I hope this conversation has served you, and I want you to practice that. I want you to find that declaration. I want you to find that possibility, and I want you to get excited about it, because in our next conversation, we're going to dive deeper into how thoughts matter.